The Okavango Delta is a unique wetland located in northern Botswana, where the Okavango River flows into the Kalahari Desert, creating a vibrant oasis for thousands of animal species in the heart of arid Africa. A world of diverse wildlife. This region is home to more than 500 species of birds, 160 species of mammals, 155 species of reptiles, and dozens of amphibian species. Creatures such as hippos, Nile crocodiles, lions, hyenas, leopards, antelopes, buffaloes, zebras, and fish eagles coexist and compete in this harsh yet generous environment. Hippopotamuses, submerged giants of power, paradox, and survival. When the blazing African sun sinks below the horizon and the air cools with the arrival of night, the riverbanks come alive with one of the continent's most curious spectacles. From calm waters emerge the colossal shapes of hippos, their barrel-like bodies glistening as they rise from their aquatic refuge to begin a nightly ritual. Despite their enormous size, adult males can weigh up to 4,000 kilograms. These semi-aquatic mammals move with surprising determination as they leave the water to graze under the cover of night. At first glance, the hippopotamus seems like a contradiction in motion. We often associate them with water, imagining them resting in rivers with only their nostrils above the surface. But few people know that hippos actually do not swim. Lacking the buoyancy techniques of fish or even other marine mammals, they walk, hop, and propel themselves underwater using the riverbed as a foothold. Their bulk, which might seem like a disadvantage in water, actually becomes a tool, allowing them to sink and maneuver efficiently and with surprising grace for an animal of their size. This paradox between agility and mass defines much of the hippo's life. On land, they appear slow, almost clumsy. But in water, their true element, they transform into imposing figures of strength and speed. However, this aquatic grace is juxtaposed with extreme aggression. In fact, hippos are considered among the most dangerous animals in Africa, and their behavior during mating season only reinforces this reputation. When the time comes to reproduce, the river becomes a battlefield. Dominant males, territorial by nature, clash violently to assert their mating rights. These are not symbolic displays of strength. They are ferocious battles, often ending in deep wounds, broken bones, or even death. Their massive jaws, capable of opening nearly 180 degrees, become weapons of destruction. What makes the hippopotamus truly fascinating is not just its physical prowess or volatile temperament. It's the way these traits coexist. The same creature that grazes peacefully under the moonlight is the one that can unleash lethal force during the day. This duality reminds us that nature is rarely one-dimensional. It thrives in contradiction. The hippo doesn't fit neatly into our categories of predator or prey, gentle or aggressive. It is all these things, and that complexity is what makes it one of the most fascinating figures in the animal kingdom. From a broader ecological perspective, hippos also play a vital role in their environment. By moving between land and water, they transport nutrients through their waste, fertilizing both aquatic and terrestrial ecosystems. Their grazing helps shape landscapes, and their presence in waterways influences the biodiversity of many other species. And yet, despite their power, hippos are increasingly vulnerable. Habitat loss, human encroachment, and climate change threaten the delicate ecosystems they inhabit. Their story, then, is not just about brute strength or animal behavior. It is also a reflection of the fragile balance between nature and human progress. No matter how strong they are, hippos cannot fight off bulldozers or shrinking rivers. Their future depends not only on their ability to dominate their territory, but on our willingness to protect it. In the end, the hippopotamus is more than a muscular mammal lumbering through the water. It is a symbol of contradiction, resilience, and the raw, unfiltered beauty of nature. To witness a hippo emerge from the depths at dusk is a reminder that even the most powerful beings live within delicate systems, and that true strength often lies in the ability to adapt, endure, and live in harmony with forces beyond our control. Nile crocodile, silent executioner of the African waterscape. In the sun-scorched heartlands of sub-Saharan Africa, where life clings to the banks of shrinking rivers, water is more than a source of nourishment. It is a line between survival and death. And guarding this sacred threshold is a creature as ancient as the river itself, the Nile crocodile. To the untrained eye, the surface of the water may appear still, even peaceful. But beneath that illusion of tranquility lies an apex predator that has perfected the art of ambush over more than 200 million years. The Nile crocodile, Crocodilus niloticus, with its armored skin, bone-crushing jaw strength, and near total silence, is one of nature's most calculated killers. It does not stalk its prey. It does not need to give chase. It simply waits. Waiting is its mastery. It becomes part of the landscape, motionless, unreadable, inevitable. These crocodiles can hold their breath underwater for over 30 minutes, conserving oxygen and slowing their heart rate to just a few beats per minute. This physiological superpower allows them to stay hidden for long periods, undetectable beneath the surface. Then, in an instant, they unleash their devastating attack. Their bite, estimated at more than 5,000 pounds per square inch, can break bones, immobilize adult antelope, or kill large mammals like zebras and buffalo calves in a single strike. Once caught, the prey is dragged into the depths of the river and subjected to the infamous death roll, a spinning move that disorients, drowns, and tears flesh. But crocodiles are not reckless hunters. They are strategists. Most attacks occur during the dry season, when water scarcity forces herds of animals, wildebeest, impalas, zebras, even elephants, to gather desperately at the riverbanks. The crocodile turns this congregation into an opportunity. It is not the strongest animal at the watering hole, nor the fastest, but it doesn't need to be. What it has is the advantage of surprise, mastery of terrain, and an ancestral instinct. Its hunt is brutal, but it serves a greater ecological function. As apex predators, crocodiles help regulate prey populations, eliminating the weak or sick, and contributing to the balance of the river ecosystem. Their waste introduces nutrients into the aquatic system, supporting fish and invertebrate life. Even their nesting habits, digging burrows in sandbanks, help aerate the soil and gradually shape the river's course over time. Culturally, the Nile crocodile has always carried symbolic weight. In ancient Egypt, it was both feared and revered. The crocodile-headed god, Sobek, embodied both fertility and ferocity, representing the dual nature of the river, giver and taker of life. For some communities along the Nile today, the crocodile is still treated with ritual respect, a living totem of ancestral power and untamed nature. Yet despite its dominance, the crocodile now faces growing threats. Human expansion, habitat destruction, pollution, and climate instability are disrupting traditional ecosystems. In some areas, dams and irrigation projects are lowering river levels, cutting off breeding grounds. In others, crocodiles are hunted for their hides or seen as threats to livestock and people. The line between mythical predator and endangered species is thinner than it appears. To witness a Nile crocodile in action is to witness a living fossil, a survivor unchanged through a deep evolutionary history. It is to stand at the river's edge and feel for a moment what it means not to be at the top of the food chain. It is a reminder that power can lie in patience, and that the most dangerous forces in nature do not always roar. Sometimes they simply wait, silently, perfectly still, until it is too late. Lions, sovereigns of the savannah, masters of land and water. In the Okavango Delta, a place where water swallows the land and turns dry plains into seasonal wetlands, lions have rewritten the rules of the hunt. Known universally as kings of the terrestrial world, these apex predators have evolved into something even more formidable: amphibious hunters. Here, where reeds meet rivers and antelope dart through marshes, lions have taken to the water. Not as reluctant swimmers, but as calculated, lethal forces. Among the most astonishing behaviors seen in the Okavango is the lion's ability to chase prey through waterlogged terrain. Most lions across Africa avoid water, but the prides of this delta region have adapted. They swim, they stalk, they strike, even in knee- or chest-deep floodplains. Their primary aquatic target? The red Lechwe, an antelope adapted to shallow waters, fast but not fast enough. Against the backdrop of a flooded plain, the lion's golden coat becomes camouflage, and the reeds become ambush cover. It's a reminder that nature, when driven by necessity, breeds innovation, even among its fiercest creatures. But the lion's reign is defined not just by skill. It is built on power, dominance, and sometimes cruelty. Lions are social predators, living in tightly bonded prides where cooperation is key. Females hunt together, raise young collectively, and defend territory with unshakable resolve. Males, however, live in a state of constant challenge. Coalitions of brothers or allies battle to take control of a pride, And when they succeed, they often bring brutal consequences, the massacre of cubs sired by previous males. This practice, known as infanticide, may seem savage, but it follows a grim logic in evolutionary biology. By eliminating rivals' offspring, the new dominant males ensure that females return to estrus quickly, allowing them to sire their own lineage without delay. These violent takeovers are not rare. They are a structural element of lion society. The pride, at its very core, is built not just on family bonds, but on conquest. Territory is everything. A pride's domain in the Okavango may span dozens of square kilometers, including floodplains, dry islands, and riverbanks. When rival prides clash, it's not a display, it's war. These battles can result in severe injuries or death, and for the losing pride, exile, starvation, or extinction. Young cubs are often the first casualties, their lives extinguished as trophies in the greater game of genetic succession. Yet amid the violence and dominance, another truth exists. Lions are also deeply emotional creatures. They nuzzle, they groom, they mourn their dead. A pride is not just a hunting unit. It is a family bound by rituals of affection, hierarchy, and identity. Watching a lioness gently carry her cub, or a coalition of brothers resting shoulder to shoulder, is to witness a tenderness that softens their brutality. In many cultures, the lion symbolizes courage, royalty, and divine power. But in nature, that myth is sharpened by the reality of what it takes to hold a throne. Being king is not a matter of birth. It is a matter of battle. And in the Okavango, where water and land collide, even kings must swim to survive. Lions remind us that power is never passive. It must be earned, defended, and sometimes taken by force. But they also remind us that even the fiercest warriors crave connection, that even killers can care, and that no crown in nature is worn without cost. Leopard, the silent architect of the wild. In the vast theater of African nature, where survival often hinges on spectacle, on dominant roaring, thundering herds, or dramatic chases, one predator chooses a different path. It does not announce its presence with noise or movement. It does not conquer in packs or flaunt its power. Instead, it slips through the shadows, a whisper in the underbrush. This is the leopard, Africa's most elusive and misunderstood assassin. Unlike its cousin, the cheetah, which races across the plains with blistering speed, or the lion, which rules through strength and numbers, the leopard, Panthera pardus, plays a subtler game. It is not built for show. It is built for strategy. Its body is compact yet powerful, its muscles dense, its movements calculated. And its greatest weapon is not its claws or teeth, but its mastery of silence. A leopard's hunt begins long before the strike. It reads the landscape, stalks with almost supernatural stillness, and chooses the perfect moment, often under the cover of dusk or moonlight. It doesn't rush, it doesn't panic, and when the time comes, the attack is surgical. A leap, a bite to the throat, and back to silence. No chase, no chaos, just efficiency. But what follows is where the leopard's intelligence truly shines. While many predators risk losing their hard-won meal to scavengers, the leopard secures its solitude without interruption. With astonishing strength, it drags its prey, often heavier than itself, into the trees. This aerial pantry keeps the kill safe from hyenas, jackals, and even lions. It is a feat of strength and foresight that few animals on Earth can match. To the leopard, the tree is not just a resting place. It is a kingdom in the sky, a refuge from the brutality of the ground. In these sanctuaries among the treetops, the leopard dines alone, rests in the forks of high branches, and sometimes even raises its cubs far from the threats below. Few sights are as arresting as that of a leopard lounging languidly on a horizontal branch, paws dangling, eyes half shut. But don't be fooled. This isn't relaxation. This is control. Total control. Effortless. Its elegance, however, does not end where the branch is thin. When needed, the leopard descends, quickly, silently, and becomes something entirely different. An agile swimmer, a stealthy traveler, a ghost in the grass. In regions like the Okavango Delta, where dry land disappears for months, the leopard has adapted in ways few big cats ever do. It crosses streams, navigates swamps, even launches aquatic ambushes. Unlike lions, which avoid deep water, the leopard embraces it as part of its domain. Its fluidity, literal and metaphorical, is part of what makes it so enduring. Indeed, endurance may be the leopard's most defining trait. This is a cat that thrives not only in open savannas, but in dense jungles, rocky hills, and even on the fringes of human villages. From the snowy slopes of the Himalayas to the humid jungles of the Congo, leopards have survived where other big cats have vanished. They are the ultimate shapeshifters, never seen, never heard, always present. But this gift of invisibility comes at a price: misunderstanding. Seen so rarely, leopards are often left out of the romance given to lions or the awe reserved for tigers. Yet among those who study the wild, the leopard inspires a unique reverence. It is the animal that doesn't need to prove itself. It already knows what it is. And so does everyone who crosses its path. In the folklore and spiritual traditions of Africa and Asia, the leopard is a symbol of mystery, magic, and in-betweenness. It is neither day nor night, neither mountain nor swamp. It belongs everywhere and nowhere. For some tribes, dreaming of a leopard is to receive a warning of danger cloaked in beauty. For others, it is a sign of transformation, a call to move with silent confidence. And yet, not even this near-mythical creature is immune to modern threats. Habitat loss, poaching, and conflict with expanding human populations are pushing leopards into smaller and smaller territories. Their stealth, once a shield, now makes them harder to count, harder to protect. Conservationists fear that many subspecies may vanish before we fully understand their behaviors or ranges. To lose the leopard would be to lose something sacred in the wild. A predator that does not dominate through force, but through intellect. A creature that shows true strength is not loud, but deliberate. That survival is not about size, but about knowing when to strike, when to hide, and when to simply wait. In a world obsessed with power, the leopard teaches us something much deeper: that sometimes the quietest presence is the most commanding. That mastery does not require spectacle, only precision. And that among the roar, the thunder, and the galloping drama of the natural world, there also exists a poetry written in silence. Cheetah, the reluctant king of speed. Across the sun-scorched plains of the African savannah, where grass sways in slow motion and shadows stretch long under the midday sun, a blur erupts from the landscape. In mere seconds, it becomes a missile of muscle and instinct. Legs pumping, spine flexing, eyes locked. This is the cheetah, Acinonyx jubatus, the fastest land animal on Earth, and it doesn't run, it launches. Reaching speeds up to 70 miles per hour, 113 kilometers per hour in short bursts, the cheetah is the embodiment of explosive power. Its acceleration is unmatched, 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, faster than most sports cars. But this speed is not endless. It is a razor-thin edge, a brief and brilliant blaze. The cheetah can only maintain its sprint for 20 to 30 seconds before its body overheats, its heart races, and exhaustion sets in. And so, every chase is a calculated gamble. If the prey is not brought down swiftly, the energy spent may cost more than the meal earned. Unlike lions, which bring down large prey in coordinated groups, the cheetah hunts alone. It prefers small to medium-sized animals, impalas, young gazelles, hares, targets that offer just enough nutrition without the risk of attracting larger thieves. Because the cheetah's victory is fleeting, as soon as it makes a kill, it faces a new challenge. Keeping it. In come the scavengers, hyenas, jackals, vultures, heavier, more aggressive, and often traveling in groups. They don't need to outrun a gazelle. They just need to outlast the cheetah's patience. The cheetah, with its slender frame and lightweight build optimized for speed, is not designed for defense. A confrontation could mean an injury, and an injury in the wild means death. So, rather than fight, the cheetah makes another strategic choice. It avoids attention. It selects prey it can consume quickly, often in a single sitting, and retreats when the odds turn against it. In a kingdom of brute strength, the cheetah rules not by force but by efficiency. After each adrenaline-filled chase, the cheetah's body enters a state of crisis. Its temperature spikes, its breathing becomes rapid, and it must rest before it can eat, sometimes lying motionless beside its kill for minutes, panting heavily. This moment of vulnerability is one of the most dangerous parts of its day. Any interruption, be it a scavenger or a sudden noise, could cost it the meal. And so, its feast often begins with fatigue and ends with urgency. Yet despite all its challenges, the cheetah is an evolutionary masterpiece. Its body is a marvel of biomechanical design. Large nasal passages deliver oxygen at high speed, an oversized heart powers intense sprints, and semi-retractable claws provide traction like cleats on a track. Even its long tail acts as a counterweight, helping it pivot at high speed during tight turns. A necessity when chasing agile prey across uneven ground. What truly sets the cheetah apart, however, is not just its speed, but its fragility. While lions and leopards exude dominance, the cheetah is the most vulnerable of the big cats. Its population has declined due to habitat loss, poaching, and genetic bottlenecks. Because of its reduced gene pool, cheetahs are highly susceptible to disease and have low reproductive success. Conservationists warn that unless significant protections are put in place, this iconic sprinter could soon vanish from many of the landscapes it once ruled. And yet, in its vulnerability, the cheetah reveals something rare. A predator that must choose its battles, that hunts not only with muscle, but with discipline. A creature that is powerful, yet delicate. Fast, yet fleeting. Dominant, yet in constant adaptation to survive. In folklore and modern culture, the cheetah is a symbol of elegance, grace, and untamable beauty. But behind those amber eyes lies the truth of its life. Being the fastest doesn't always mean being the safest. Speed is glory. But it is also risk, cost, and commitment. To see a cheetah run is to watch time distort. To understand its life is to understand that even the most gifted must live with caution, that brilliance can burn too hot, and that on the grand wild board, being king for a moment may mean letting it go the next. Zebra, the nomads who chase the sun across Africa's plains. Each year, when the rains vanish from the Magadikgadi salt pans and the dry wind returns to sweep across Botswana's scorched earth, something extraordinary stirs in the striped heart of the savannah. The zebra, often overlooked in the shadow of more dramatic predators or majestic elephants, begins one of Africa's great migrations. Quietly, methodically, the herds rise and begin their long journey north. Hundreds of kilometers across some of the harshest terrain in the region. Their destination, the water-rich haven of the Okavango Delta. This is not a journey of dominance. It is a journey of faith, memory, and survival. No guiding signs, no leaders with maps. Only an ancient rhythm embedded in bone and instinct. Generation after generation, they move with the land, not against it. Chasing the rain, chasing renewal. But this journey is more than a quest for water. It is a testament to endurance. The zebras that depart Makadikgadi must face blistering heat, vast stretches of predator-filled wilderness, and often days with little food. They travel in tight herds, not out of convenience, but as a shield. In open country, they are vulnerable, but together, they become something entirely different. A moving illusion. To predators like lions and hyenas, the zebra's dazzling black and white stripes are more than decoration. They are defense. When a herd moves as one, the individual disappears. The stripes blend, swirl, and ripple like heat waves on the horizon. In the chaos of pursuit, this optical illusion confuses even the sharpest hunter. A lion's eyes, built for depth and movement, struggle to fix on a single target. And in that split second, where doubt meets hunger, the zebra finds its chance. These stripes are a marvel not just of defense, but of biology and evolution. Each zebra has a unique pattern, as distinct as a human fingerprint. They allow mothers to recognize their young herd members, to identify one another, and even help repel biting flies and regulate body temperature. Their function is complex. Their symbolism deep. But more extraordinary than their stripes is the society they form. Zebras live in family groups, each led by a dominant male who fiercely protects his group from rivals. The females stay together for years, raise young communally, and strengthen their bonds through grooming and gentle nuzzles. When at last the herds reach the Okavango, after weeks of movement, they enter a world transformed by floodwaters. Here, life pulses with abundance. Grasses spring from the soil, birds fill the skies, and predators sharpen their claws. Yet even in this lush oasis, danger is never far. Crocodiles wait at river crossings. Lions prowl the delta's edges, alert for the moment the herd falters. Still, this epic migration now hangs in fragile balance. Roads and fences, monuments to human progress, have cut off ancestral roots. Climate change has made rainfall unpredictable and waterholes disappear. And the zebra, symbol of movement and resilience, finds itself trapped in a world that no longer moves with the seasons. To see a zebra in motion is to see the soul of the savanna in action. In the poetry of the plains, the zebra is a verse of contrast and grace. A reminder that the most extraordinary journeys are often made in silence, and that sometimes the truest strength wears stripes, not armor. African buffalo, the living fortress of the grasslands. In the vast and open theaters of the African savanna, where the drama of survival plays out daily under an unrelenting sun, a force moves that is neither predator nor prey in the traditional sense. It doesn't run like the cheetah, nor ambush like the crocodile. It moves slowly, steadily, in a thunderous union, a wall of muscle, horn, and defiance. This is the African buffalo. Synchorous Kaffir, often called the Black Death by those who have faced its fury, and rightly so. It is not merely an animal, it is a battalion. From afar, a herd of buffalo may appear as a slow, dark blot on golden plains, deceptively calm. But beneath this appearance lies a society bound by strategy, strength, and nonverbal coordination. These herds can number in the thousands, forming one of Africa's largest and most cohesive ungulate groups. And in a land where danger lurks behind every bush and beneath every watering hole, there is no safety in solitude. The herd is everything. To lions, buffalo are both dream and nightmare. Rich in meat and often plentiful, they are tempting prey. Yet they are also among the most dangerous creatures a lion can face. Many lion hunts have ended with broken ribs and shattered pride, beneath the hooves and horns of a herd that refuses to yield. When threatened, buffalo do not flee in chaos like many antelope. They form ranks. It is a military choreography born of instinct and experience. The strongest bulls move to the outer perimeter, lowering their massive heads to form a barrier of curved horns. Behind them, the weaker members, including calves and elders, are protected in the center. This tactic, simple yet devastatingly effective, has repelled even the fiercest lion coalitions. and if a pride dares to attack, the herd may retaliate, launching a charge that can scatter even seasoned predators. Stories abound of buffalo returning to rescue captured calves or goring lions mid-hunt. The power of the African buffalo lies not only in individual strength, but in collective will. Unlike solitary prey, they are aware of their weight as a unit. A single buffalo may die, but a herd, mobilized, enraged, and tightly knit, becomes a fortress on hooves. And unlike elephants who rely on size or rhinos who rely on brute aggression, the buffalo uses something more subtle: numbers, coordination, and the will to fight back. Socially, buffalo herds are structured and dynamic. Leadership rotates with conditions. Older, experienced cows often guide movement based on memory of water sources and grazing zones, while bulls may form bachelor groups outside the mating season. Communication is constant, using grunts, snorts, and body language to guide decisions. And despite their fearsome reputation, buffalo also show moments of tenderness. Mothers nudging their calves with surprising gentleness, companions grooming one another. And the death of a member can trigger waves of grief within the group. Ecologically, buffalo are vital. As grazers, they shape the landscape, clear old grasses, and fertilize the soil, paving the way for new growth that sustains countless other species. They are part of a complex web, both consumers and contributors, prey and protector. Their presence signals ecosystem health, their absence a red flag. Yet even these giants face mounting threats: habitat fragmentation, conflict with humans, and diseases like bovine tuberculosis pose serious risks. As ranches expand and corridors close, buffalo migrations are disrupted, and tensions with farmers rise. The animal that once roamed vast grasslands unhindered must now navigate a world of invisible fences and shrinking spaces. And still, they endure. The African buffalo is a symbol of solidarity. In a world that often glorifies the lone hunter, it reminds us of the strength born from unity, the protection found in standing shoulder to shoulder. It teaches us that power doesn't always lie in speed or surprise, but sometimes in sheer refusal to give in. To see a herd of buffalo on the move is to witness an ancient rhythm of resilience, a living wall that neither flees nor yields. They are the breath of the grasslands, the guardians of its balance, the storm that holds the line. Lechwe, the dancer of the Okavango swamps. In the Okavango Delta, where land dissolves into water and the horizon wavers in shimmering reflections, there exists a creature that doesn't just survive the flood, it thrives in it. The red Lechwe, Cobus lech, with its rust-colored coat and graceful stride, is more than just another antelope. It is a dancer, a swimmer, a spirit shaped by water. While other hoofed animals flee the marshes, the Lechwe steps in, literally. With long, slender legs and specially adapted water-repellent hooves, it glides through the flooded grasslands with astonishing ease. Watching a herd of Lechwes bound through shallow waters is like witnessing a ballet of survival. Bodies leaping in unison, arcs of water sparkling behind them, every movement both graceful and essential. These wetlands, treacherous for most, are the Lechwe's sanctuary. Where a lion's paws sink, the Lechwe's hooves hold firm. Where a leopard hesitates, the Lechwe dances on. Its preference for soggy, muddy, unpredictable terrain is not just habit, it's strategy. Here, in the tangled embrace of reeds and lilies, they find refuge from the great cats of the savannah. It is a world where the rules of predation shift, and the Lechwe holds the advantage, at least for a while. This semi-aquatic lifestyle has made the red Lechwe one of Africa's most iconic and ecologically specialized antelopes. It is found primarily in the floodplains of the Okavango, Zambezi, and Bangweulu valleys, and lives in tightly knit herds, often numbering in the hundreds. Their lives are a constant negotiation with water, feeding on aquatic grasses, crossing shifting streams, and even giving birth in shallow waters to avoid predators that favor solid ground. But Lechwes are not without danger. Crocodiles lie in ambush beneath the surface. Big cats, though wary of water, are not entirely absent, especially the lions of the Okavango, which have learned to adapt and hunt in flooded terrain. For these antelopes, every step is a calculation, every splash a signal. Safety comes from awareness, agility, and the unbroken rhythm of the herd. What's remarkable is how this elusive creature has mastered balance between land and water, between the visible and the unseen, between vulnerability and control. Their golden reddish coats seem to glow in the sun, a flare against the blue-green wetlands, but in motion they blur among the tall grasses and flickering shadows. Seen from afar, herds of Lechwes in motion can appear less like animals and more like reflections, fluid, fleeting, impossible to pin down. Culturally, the Lechwe symbolizes lightness and intuition, an animal that follows flow over force. In local folklore, it is sometimes said that Lechwes were once spirits of the delta itself, given legs to carry the pulse of water across the land. Whether myth or metaphor, the sentiment holds true. They are beings in tune with an ecosystem that never stops moving. And yet, their future is tied directly to that which they've evolved for. Climate change and water diversion projects are altering flood patterns, shrinking their habitat and threatening their delicate balance. As waters shift and human activity pushes deeper into the delta, the Lechwe's dance becomes more dangerous. Their survival depends not only on biology, but on whether humanity will protect the watery stage they've danced upon for centuries. To witness a Lechwe in motion is to see more than an antelope. It is to glimpse the poetry of nature in kinetic form. It is to understand that grace can be a survival tool, that water can be home, and that sometimes the key to life lies in learning to move where others sink. In a world of predators and prey, the Lechwe is neither warrior nor fugitive. It is something rarer, a creature that survives danger by living alongside it, stepping lightly, leaping forward, and always staying one step ahead. African fish eagle. Death from above, the sky's precision hunter. Gliding high above Africa's winding rivers and mirror-flat deltas, a shadow slips silently against the clouds. Its cry, sharp, echoing, unmistakable, cuts through the morning mist like a trumpet of sovereignty. This is the African fish eagle, Haliaeetus vocifer, the undisputed monarch of the skies and a master of aquatic ambush. Where others float or flutter, it soars, and when it strikes, it does so with breathtaking speed and precision. Perched on a high branch or drifting lazily on thermals, the fish eagle is not idle. It is watching, always watching. With eyes honed by evolution and a view unclouded by human perspective, it scans the gleaming surface below, attuned to the faintest ripple, the flick of a fin, the shimmer of scales. Then, in an instant, stillness gives way to action. With wings tucked back and talons extended, the fish eagle dives, arrow-like, silent, precise. It does not hesitate. It does not falter. In one fluid motion, it slams into the water with a splash, emerging moments later with a writhing fish clutched in curved talons as lethal as blades. Unlike many raptors, it rarely misses. Its talons are equipped with backward-facing spicules, or barbs, that help grip slippery prey in an unbreakable hold. And once caught, the victim's fate is sealed. But this bird is not just a fast flyer, it is an aquatic hunter evolved for excellence. Its nostrils can close automatically on impact, preventing water intake during the plunge. Its feathers are partially waterproof, shielding it from the cold of wet hunting grounds and enabling powerful bursts both through air and across water. Its beak is hooked and sharp, designed not to tear flesh like vultures, but to grasp and kill live, thrashing fish with efficiency. The fish eagle's mastery over water and wind is not just a biological feat, it is a reflection of ecological balance. As dominant aerial predators of rivers, lakes, and swamps across sub-Saharan Africa, fish eagles play a vital role in regulating fish populations and serve as indicators of aquatic ecosystem health. Where fish eagles thrive, the water is clean, fish are abundant, and the web of life beneath the surface is strong. Their territories span long stretches of riverbanks and lake shores, which they defend with fierce cries and aerial displays. Mates pair for life, often returning to the same nest year after year, adding new branches until the structure weighs hundreds of kilograms and spans several meters in diameter. Their ghostly duet, a call and response over the water, is one of Africa's most iconic natural sounds, a musical reminder of the wild and the wondrous. But for all their grandeur, these birds are not invincible. Pollution, overfishing, and habitat encroachment threaten the very waters they depend on. Human activity, whether from dams, deforestation, or tourism infrastructure, has disrupted both nesting sites and hunting grounds. Even plastic waste ingested by fish and passed along the food chain now reaches the stomachs of the sky's finest hunters. Still, the African fish eagle endures. To witness one in flight is to witness a fusion of form and function, of instinct and precision, refined over millennia. It is a creature that doesn't just live above the wild, it shapes it, not with size or roar, but with silence, with a cry from the clouds, and with a dive so fast it leaves only ripples and awe in its wake. It reminds us that, in nature, power is not always loud. Sometimes it comes with wings spread wide over water, in the descent of a second, like justice falling from the sky. Vervet monkeys. The symphony of survival in the Canopy. In the dappled green of Africa's riparian woodlands, where light filters through fig trees and the hum of insects merges with the rustle of leaves, a different kind of music echoes, sharp, rhythmic, and purposeful. It is not the sound of bird song or wind. It is the language of the vervet monkey, Chlorocebus pygorhynchus, a language that, remarkably, has grammar, meaning, and urgency. Here, in the tree-lined corridors of rivers and floodplains, vervet monkeys compose a daily symphony of survival. They live in large, complex troops, sometimes numbering over 30 individuals, where hierarchy, kinship, and cooperation intertwine. But what makes the vervet truly extraordinary is not just how they live, but how they communicate. These monkeys have developed one of the most sophisticated natural alarm systems known in the animal kingdom, a form of proto-language that offers a glimpse into the evolutionary roots of communication itself. When danger approaches, vervets do not panic blindly. They identify, categorize, and communicate with astonishing precision. A distinct alarm call is issued when a leopard is spotted, a guttural grunt that sends the troop scrambling up into the trees. Another call, sharper, signals the presence of a snake, prompting individuals to freeze and scan the ground. A third, a high-pitched shriek, warns of an aerial predator like an eagle, causing the monkeys to dash into dense foliage or duck into the bushes. Each call is specific. Each one matters. This is not just noise, it is information. And even more astonishing is that infants must learn these calls. Young vervets sometimes make mistakes, shouting eagle at a harmless pigeon or leopard at the sight of a warthog. But over time, through experience and social feedback, they refine their vocabulary, learning to distinguish between real threats and false alarms. This linguistic ability serves a vital role in the volatile ecosystem they inhabit. In the Okavango and other riparian environments, predators are abundant. Martial eagles patrol the skies. Leopards stalk through the underbrush. Snakes coil silently among roots and rocks. For an animal that rarely weighs more than 5 kilograms, vigilance alone is not enough. Communication is their true defense. But life as a vervet isn't only danger and alarms. These monkeys are deeply social. Grooming is both hygiene and diplomacy. Mothers care for their young with tenderness, and juveniles spend hours playing, running, tumbling, learning the rules of their world. Dominant males protect the troop from outsiders, while females form lifelong matrilineal networks. Their society is rich, hierarchical, and emotional. Their ecological role is no less important. As frugivores, they disperse seeds across forest floors and riverbanks, helping regenerate native flora. Their alarm calls benefit not only other vervets but also nearby species. Antelopes, birds, and even humans have been seen responding to their warnings. In this way, vervet monkeys become guardians of more than just their own kind. Yet, like many species across the continent, vervets are increasingly caught in the friction between the wild and human expansion. As farms, roads, and settlements push into wild spaces, vervets are labeled as pests, and their calls are silenced by fences and firearms. But those who study them know their voices are more than background noise. They are evolutionary echoes, reminders that language, intelligence, and society did not begin with us. To sit in the shade of a tree and listen to a troop of vervets converse is to glimpse a world where survival depends not on brute strength, but on the art of warning one another about what comes next. It is to witness language in its rawest and most urgent form. Not written, not recorded, but spoken under threat of death. And in that chorus of warning calls and watchful eyes, the vervet monkey teaches us a simple truth: that the first stories ever told weren't for entertainment, but for survival. Black rhino, the solitary giant with a temper of thunder. In the dusty silence of Africa's savannas and thorn-veld scrublands, where the horizon blurs into a silver haze and the wind whispers through acacia thorns, a colossal shape moves. Slow, deliberate, and utterly alone. This is the black rhinoceros, Diceros bicornis, one of nature's most formidable yet misunderstood creatures. It walks not with the swagger of a lion nor the elegance of a gazelle, but with the gravity of a living tank, a being carved from prehistoric time, wrapped in armor and carrying thunder in its bones. Weighing up to 2,500 kilograms and armed with 2 keratin horns, the black rhino is a paradox of power and vulnerability. It is a browser, not a grazer, feeding not on grass, but on shrubs and trees. Its distinctive prehensile upper lip curls outward like a hooked finger, perfect for plucking leaves and twigs from acacia branches. With a slow gait and a low-slung head, it moves through its territory with quiet confidence, marking its path with dung piles and scent glands. Silent declarations of ownership. But behind this seemingly calm facade lies a temper that can turn explosive in an instant. Unlike the more placid white rhino, the black rhino is notoriously irritable and fiercely territorial. With poor eyesight and highly developed senses of smell and hearing, it often reacts to perceived threats with preemptive aggression. A sudden crunch, an unfamiliar scent, or the distant silhouette of another creature can provoke a full-speed charge. And when a 2-ton mass charges at 55 kilometers per hour, few things can stand in its way, be it bush, jeep, hyena, or even lion. It does not charge to kill. It charges to eliminate uncertainty. This volatility is not madness, it's survival. In a landscape where every movement could signal danger, the black rhino's approach is simple: assume nothing is safe. Though as adults they have few natural predators, Their calves are vulnerable to lions and hyenas. And though the black rhino is built like a tank, it lives like a shadow, mostly solitary, mostly silent, and fiercely private. These solitary giants carve out vast territories for themselves, covering kilometers in search of food and fresh vegetation. Males tend to live alone, while females may be accompanied by their young. Encounters between adult rhinos are often tense, with horn clashes and aggressive displays. It is a society of avoidance. Contact is kept to a minimum, except for mating or defense. And yet, despite all its strength, the black rhino is critically endangered. Ruthlessly hunted for its horn, a substance no different in structure from human fingernails, this creature has suffered one of the most tragic declines in modern conservation history. Decades of poaching and habitat loss have reduced its numbers to a fraction of what they once were. In some regions, they now survive only through intense human protection. Armed guards, dehorning campaigns, and 24-hour surveillance. But even in its decline, the black rhino remains an emblem of primal resilience. Its very presence transforms the landscape. Its dung feeds dung beetles. Its browsing habits shape vegetation. Its silence speaks louder than any predator's roar. To see a black rhino in the wild is not just to witness a rare animal. It is to feel the pulse of Africa's ancestral soul. It is to be in the presence of something older than civilization. Something that recalls a world more wild, more rugged, more true. It is a creature that asks nothing of us, except to be left in peace. Where paradise meets peril. The Okavango Delta is a rare paradox, a place where life thrives in dazzling abundance, yet constantly teeters on the brink of collapse. Though blessed by nature, it faces mounting threats. Climate change disrupts its rhythms, pollution poisons its waters, and poaching silences its wild voices. And yet, it endures. Each year, the rains return. The land breathes again. The floodwaters awaken the soil, and with them, thousands of lives are reborn. The Okavango is not just a sanctuary, it is a symbol of resilience. A reminder that even in the face of danger, nature still dares to hope.